Hi, it's Jim Owens with Performance Strategies Group. Hope you're doing well today. I want to talk to you a little bit about some things that might be useful in regard to both your leadership of a group of employees as well as a group of salespeople. We see a lot of these things overlap, these concepts, and I want to talk to you a little bit something called prepositioning. So prepositioning is just preparing people by sending signals that are deliberate and transparent about anything that's coming. Prepositioning an employee might include things like, well, next year we know we're going to have an increased level of sales goals, and we're going to focus on a particular product, or we're going to focus on a particular different vertical market, and letting people have time to adjust their own expectations, their own performance. And then we might further come along later on and say, we really want to concentrate on this particular group of prospects in this particular industry. Or we might preposition them with things like, well, we know our mainframe computer system, our IT system, MCIF, whatever you want to call that thing, has got to go through some major transition, and we're going to go through that next year. And then we want to make sure that they understand why it will benefit them as employees and the organization and its clients. And so that people begin to get a picture of why they're about to go through some specific kinds of pain. If you're dealing with prepositioning with a prospect, this involves establishing first what it is they think is important. Both you're prepositioning yourself and them in terms of how you deliver a proposal. You want to preposition them with regard to your expertise. If you are particularly expert in some subject matter, you want to position them about your organization and why it has the ability to scale its work along with theirs. You might want to preposition them with regard to pricing, or with regard to essentially value adds or value proposition issues. Then as we move through the process of sales activities, moving from prospect or from suspect to prospect, we're checking in with those people to preposition ourselves for the ultimate offer we want to make, and then prepositioning people within the organization about whatever our proposal is going to be and how we're going to win the business. Prepositioning allows people to stay in touch with one another, to communicate better, to make sure everyone has a clear expectation of what their role is in delivering that product or service. People don't like surprises. My wonderful mother, who is 85 years old, has always said she didn't like surprises. And throughout my life, I've surprised her a few times, and gratefully and thankfully, she still loves me despite my shortcomings. But I try to preposition her now and really there's nothing major I've ever got to preposition her for anymore. But just not surprising someone, because surprises both to the client or the prospect and the employee often sap us of energy and time and our productivity, because we're stewing over the fact that we didn't get information sooner, that we didn't get clued in onto what was going to become a change in our institutional organization. And since we know that roughly 80% of an employee's engagement is related to their manager and how much they share, to the extent they can, deliberately and transparently about what's coming in the organization, the more engaged they'll be, and they'll stay longer. They'll be happier, if you will. And we all want happy employees because we know happiness improves productivity. So as you're working through the day and the week, think about people and issues that you have to preposition. When we talk to people about communication plans in an organization, it's really pretty simple. You got to know who you want to talk to, about what, and how often. And after that, it becomes very simple. I've always been surprised, and we've done communication studies within organizations, and more often than not, people feel like they have been left out of certain things. And so they want to know things that they don't realize their leaders don't seem to be connected with sharing with them. And of course, there's always things that can't be talked about. But for the most part, those things are related to either public company issues and SEC filings, or they're related to employee as individuals and their performance. So we can be deliberate and transparent about just about everything else. And if we don't know the answer to something, we say, I don't know. But if we can preposition people to not surprise them, to help understand what it is their world's going to become and how things might change, they'll be there for you much longer. And if we preposition our prospects for what our ultimate value proposition and offer is, they won't be surprised. And in that dialogue, you end up rooting out things or issues that are important to the prospect. So you can apply this technique to many situations. You can use it in your relationship with your children, with your significant other, and you can use it throughout your day in many different organizations. I guess the last thing I would say is prepositioning involves really saying something like this. Hey, I've been thinking about this, and I wondered if you have been thinking about it as well. Or, hey, I'd like to know your thoughts about this. And that'll just help everybody understand one another better. And the kids will play better in the sandbox. So have a great day. I'm Jim Owens. You know you can find us on the web at psghsv.com. You can find us on Facebook, on LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn, and you can also find us, Performance Strategies Group, on Instagram, where we like to have fun and try and encourage one another. So I will look forward to talking to you soon. I probably won't be wearing a jacket the next time. So have a great day. I'm Jim Owens. Bye.